Hello, everybody. This is Patrick White. I'm the founder of the Steps House. We opened up on November the 21st, 1991. So if you're pretty good at math, you know that come November, we'll be 29 years old. And we've seen probably 12 or 13,000 men through here between our residential recovery program and the VA program. If you're here this morning, most likely you're coming out of jail or you're on community corrections or parole, probation, drug court, DRC, or one of the criminal justice programs. And we are glad you're here. We have every hope in the world for you that you'll do something while you're here to improve yourself and ensure that you never go back to drugs and alcohol and you never go back to jail. If you do, that will be what you do, not what we do. We don't send people to jail. If you leave there and you end up back in jail, that's on you, not us. Just know that we're here to help you put your life back together, to build a life. I always say we're going to jack you up and put a life under you if you'll let us. Of course, most of you have met the staff and you're probably been assigned to a house by now. I will say that I'm sorry you have to be here. It's not anybody's first choice to go to a halfway house, halfway through their life. But the Steps House is the lesser of two bad choices: stay in jail or go to the Steps House. So a lot of guys play the game and they act like they want something, so they let them come to the halfway house, and 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, they're gone. And a lot of that's because the courts are closed and they know can't have court and violate you. But and that's really sad because it's cut our average length of stay at the Steps House down drastically because all the people that are coming in playing the game. And we understand that. And it's okay with us. You won't play a game with your life, that's your life. But what I want to tell you is that while you're here, pay attention, listen. One of these days, you're going to need what we're telling you. One of these days, you're going to ask to do it. One of these days, you'll know you don't have any other choice if you ever want to have a life but to do this. The programs of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Codependencies, ACOA, and all those 12-step groups are all designed with one thing in mind: to help you learn through experience and some hard work how to have a spiritual awakening, so that the things that you need in life, the things that are important in life, wake up inside of you. And you realize what is important and what isn't. And the things that most of us chased out there are not what's important. Because you know what? We gave up our families, we gave up our freedom, we gave up our money, we gave up our license, we gave up our friends, we gave up everything. They say the man takes a drink takes a drink, and then the drink takes the man. And he finds himself in a corner with a bottle, and the bottle turns on him. And he'll know loneliness and hopelessness as few people ever do. And if you've ever experienced any of that, and you believe any of that, then here is an opportunity. This is the opportunity you've been looking for. If you do this, you will grow into the life you've always been mad about not having. Now, who can make you that promise? Who has ever said to you, look, we're going to show you how to do this, how to stay clean and sober, how to put your life back together, how to get responsible, how to grow up, how to give you some character, how to give you some integrity. And you would not believe how many people are not interested in that. They're just not interested. They're just not willing to do the work to change into the kind of person that can have that. They just won't do it. They'd rather stay miserable. They'd rather stay in jail. They'd rather stay on the streets, sleeping in the tents and in the parks and in the graveyards, than to come in and try just to see what's going on. And like I said, just listen. And you're going to listen, and you're going to get some information in that brain that you ain't never going to be able to forget. You'll be sitting on a bar stool some night, 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking a beer, and at the bottom of that beer bottle, you're going to see my face. And you're going to hear my voice, and you're going to remember the words that I said to you the day you got to the Steps House. We like to have a lot of fun. We're not totally serious. We're not, what's a good word? we're not totally straight arrows and regimented and regulated. We want to have fun. We want to teach you how to have fun in life. We want this to be like a family that's growing up together, that's helping each other, because that's all we got, man. You know, there's not a lot of places you can walk up down the street and knock on people's doors and ask them to do for you what we're willing to do for you. And that's the truth. And I believe that with all my heart. And I've believed it for all 29 years. And I've watched people follow my recommendations and get a life. And now they got 10, 15, 20 years. A lot of them are working here. You know, Jody came in just like you guys did, you know, beat down. I mean, beat down. And now he's running the entire program. It can happen. It can happen. So I was 5 years and 6 days sober the day I walked up on the porch of the Blue House. And I had a friend that had the Blue House and the Car House. And he called it a halfway house, but man, there was no furniture, there was no food, there was no recovery. You know, he just wanted the money that the criminal justice system was paying, and he didn't do nothing. He didn't teach him recovery. And so I kept beating him up about it. And he said, well, if you think you can do better, why don't you buy them houses and go up there and do a better job? Well, I was on unemployment. But I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go up there and I'll work for 3 months or ever how long and see if I can get it started back in the right direction. And then within a year, I'll find a way to buy those 2 houses. So he said, okay. And I ended up there, walked in the door, 7 guys sitting in the living room, which is now the dining room. We didn't have that back part. And they were all drunk and high. They didn't know me from anybody. And I walked in and I said, I'm the new director of this place and I'm going to NA convention up in Gatlinburg. And when I come back on Sunday, I want some food in that refrigerator. I want this place cleaned up. And I put $100 on the table and left. I mean, you know, I later thought, I'm surprised they didn't rob me for the rest of my money. They didn't know me and they was all sitting there high, you know, back in the old mindset. But I came back on Sunday and they tried to clean up. They bought a lot of air freshener, I can tell you that. And so I came in on Monday morning, had some drug screen bottles. And I said, boys, if you want help, tell me now. Get honest with me and ask me for help and I'll help you. If I drug screen you and you fail it, you got to go. Well, 4 people left without even taking a drug screen. I was left with 3 guys. And one of those guys in that first 3 people later told me that he had prayed the day before I got there that God would send somebody to the Steps House to help him get sober. And that fella will have 29 years this December. He never relapsed. He made it. He stayed with me about 2 years. And what I decided to do, because I had some experience in working in treatment centers and halfway houses. They were licensed and regulated and state funded and all that. And there were some things I just couldn't do. I couldn't do to people what some of those places did to people. I just couldn't do it. I was very, very solid and very active in NA and AA and the philosophies and the treatment of other people and the spiritual stuff. And I just wasn't going to treat people. So what I did was I started calling everybody I knew, and I knew a lot of people in recovery. I've been in 5 years. I've been to every meeting in Knoxville, I guess, in Oak Ridge. And I said, look, I got these 2 houses over here. I don't have any money. I'm drawing unemployment. I got a pickup truck, a girlfriend. I said, but if you run into somebody that doesn't have any money, that nobody wants to help because he's been to treatment so many times, they've all give up on him, or some guy that's living on the streets and just wants help, send him to me. I had 17 beds in them 2 houses. Like I said, November 21st. By the 1st of January, I had 180 people on a waiting list because I was the only person in town that would say, you just come over here, we'll get you sober, we'll help you get sober, and we'll worry about the money later. And we still do that. Now, some of the criminal justice people pay for your rent and stuff like that up front, which is really nice, man. You get a couple months to get up and running before you have to come up with all that money. It's really a blessing, because the guys in the old days, they didn't have any help. So they came. And over the years, when people would move out of the neighborhood, they'd come and ask me if I wanted to buy their house, and they'd give me a good deal. And the bank, Home Federal Bank, who, they're very hard to get into, man, they got behind me, and everything I wanted to do, they made it happen. And we just grew. We grew and grew and grew. We probably, we bought our last house probably about 2 years ago, the one over next to Jody. And so I worked there 80 hours a week, 6 days a week, 6 in the morning, 10 at night. I woke them up and did meditation. I did wrap up and put them to bed. Saturday morning, do a big Saturday morning meditation and go home, and I'd be home Saturday afternoon and Sunday. And I didn't take a salary for 8 years. Didn't get nothing. Then I just got a little bit. And my wife supported us. And and that's who I wanted to be. I didn't want to be that guy. I could have hooked up with these shysters in treatment business, and the steps house could be worth millions today, but I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it, because there was always strings attached that did not have nothing to do with me trying to help you put your life back together. Matter of fact, it took time away from that, and I wasn't having no part of it, and I wouldn't let my staff have no part of it. We'll do this and we'll help these folks. And as long as God wants us to keep doing it, he'll find a way to make it happen. And, I can tell you some stories about some by golly, absolute miracles that happened at the Steps House to keep us going. We've been month to month for 27 years. The last year's been a little better with the VA and some other stuff, but we were month to month. We never knew from one month to the next if we'd be there. But the guys kept coming. Some of them got sober. Some of them went out, came back, went out, came back. Some of them died. Some of them got sober. Some of them left. I don't have any idea what happened to them. So anyway, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that, but just to give you some background of who I am and the way I think about this deal, this is not a money thing for me. And if you stay around long enough and you talk to enough people, you're going to find out that we give away about as much as we've taken in, trying to help people. And if you stay here and you try hard and you make progress and you come to a point where you need something, we're going to try to help you get it, no matter what it is. So our program is based solely on the 12 steps of recovery. Every rule, every phase criteria, every activity, every conversation, everything we do here is for one purpose, and that is to fulfill the fifth tradition, that our primary purpose is to carry the message to the addict and alcoholic who still suffers. And that's all we do. Now, we do a lot more, day-to-day stuff, but the bottom line is that's what we're doing. We're not asking you to take it. We're not making you to take it. We're not going to pay you to take it, bribe you to take it. We're not going to lie to you to get you to take it. We're not going to con you. We're going to tell you exactly what we did to get sober, stay sober, and build a life after drugs and alcohol. And it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, everything's going to be rosy. It's not. And it's going to take years for you to realize the benefits of everything you're doing right now. And a lot of people don't want to wait that long, but that's the reality. You will have a profound personality change. It's not going to happen for 3 to 7 years, and that's that spiritual awakening and the changes you're putting in your life and your behavior and your thoughts and your beliefs. So we don't make any apologies for our program. It is totally self-supporting. That means you guys pay rent, we pay the bills, and we move on and help the next one. So that means the people in the 3/4 and 7/8 house that are paying rent allow us to let you come in and get started, without hounding you for rent the first week you're there and all that stuff. And then as you grow, then you become the person that's helping us help the next newcomer. And that's the 12th step of Alcoholics Anonymous. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and addicts who still suffer. and practice these principles in all our affairs. And that's what we're doing. We'll never lie to you. We'll never cheat you. We'll never steal from you. We'll never manipulate you. We will never be discriminatory against you. We'll never beat you, hit you. We will always be fair to a fault. And if there's any doubt in any situation, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt until we know absolutely what's really up. So the staff here have all grown up at the Steps House. I got a couple that didn't go through the Steps House. But over the last 28 years, probably at any given time, you look at my staff and you can say 98% of them came to the Steps House just like you did today, with nothing, no hope, very little belief that anything's ever going to work. And now they're working here and they're helping you. You know, they came in whining and moaning and trying to figure out how much money we're making and how they can make a plan to get up out of here. But they stayed. They did the work. And now they're the reason the Steps House is still open. They're the reason that the Steps House is still moving forward. It's the staff that's in there trying to help you. I'm in the background most days now. I'm keeping the business floating. You know, I'm doing all the paperwork and the red tape and government regulations and all that stuff. And Jody and those guys up there are doing what we call the groundwork. They're on the front line fighting your addiction with you. So remember that when you talk to them. They're not ever going to do anything to just mess with you and put you down the wrong road or play with you or take advantage of you. They're there to help you. And if you don't believe me, sit down and talk to them sometime on a one-to-one human basis. You know, tell them what you want to do. Ask them if they can help you and watch what happens. And after this little short video, Tara and Kathy are going to go over all the intake paperwork with you that you have to sign, and we have to have this. It's, you got to sign that you understand you have rights and you have responsibilities, and there's a zero drug screen tolerance, and there's some other stuff that you sign, fill out your food stamp forms. And then Kathy's going to go over the rules and phase criteria. And if you look at that phase criteria, you're going to see that every bit of it came right out of that big book. And if you do it, if you follow those 3 phases and you complete all 3 phases, when you leave here, you will be sober and you will be on your way to independent living. You'll have a sponsor, you'll have a job, you'll have a better attitude. Your PO will be looking at you different. You'll feel different. Your family might even be looking at you different. And those are things that I guarantee you. You give me a year of your life, and I'll show you a life you never dreamed possible. And if you can come in at a year with a year chip in your pocket and prove me wrong, I'll give you whichever house you're living in. And I've said that for 29 years, and nobody's ever come at me with a year and said, my life didn't get any better. It can't happen. If you do this, it has to get better. We also have Recovery Church down the hill at 808 Severe Avenue. And that is a church that we say is a church for recovering people. And we believe that if you don't find a higher power, you're probably not going to stay sober. You can't keep running the show and expect different results. So at Recovery Church, we talk about God, but you can come to church and sit there and listen to the message, and you don't have to do anything. Just come and listen to the message and make your own mind up. Get over those preconceived notions. But anyway, we meet on Wednesdays at 6:45. And before the COVID, we feed on Wednesday. We kind of backed off of that for now. And then Sunday at 9:30, we have a service. And we just reopened the church for those 2 services. We haven't reopened for meetings yet because the city says, some of those meetings down there got 100 people in them, and they would arrest me if I let them in there. And the Recovery Central Clubhouse that is housed there it was housing 28 12-step meetings a week, Bible studies, women's meetings, men's meetings, AA, NA, Al-Anon. And we're just proud. I'm really proud of what God has allowed us to do in the last 29 years. We have become one of the most reputable halfway houses in the southeastern United States. Every cop in Tennessee, on his computer, in his car, if he runs into somebody with alcohol and drug problem and he types it in there, Steps House is the first place that comes up on his computer. We're well respected because we have respected our clients, our residents. We have treated you with integrity, and people know that. They know if you come over here and you get discharged because you won't do what you committed to do, they know it's you, not us. Because every one of them had been to the Steps House, talked to us endless hours about what we do and how we do it, and are with us and trying to help you. Everybody is trying to help you. The cops, the judges, the POs, the people in the halfway house, everybody's reaching out to you and say, come on, son, you know, can't you see you're going the wrong way? Let us help you turn that around. And in ending, I'd like to say a small prayer for you guys that just got here. I'd like to tell you, haven't even met you and I already love you. I'm already your greatest fan. And I'll tell you, if you're at the Steps House for one day, you're a Steps brother for life, okay? We will never turn you away. If you go out and mess up, you just call us and come on back and try again. We're not your judge. We were sent here with God's blessing to help each and every one of you to find him and have a better life. Our Father, we raise up these folks that are sitting in the room today listening to this message. We ask that you would open their hearts and open their ears and their minds, and just let them hear, just let them experience what we're about and what we're trying to do for them, and give them the courage and the strength and the patience to get this task done so that they may have the lives that you've always wanted them to have. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, next up is Tara and Kathy. Thank you all for listening. Good day.